Hi, I'm Josh. This is the week 3 review for the Understanding Language and Language Teaching MOOC from the University of Southampton and the British Council. I'm going to try to gather together the things that have stood out for me this week and reflect on what I've learnt from all of you. But first, I'm going to give you some statistics on the course. So, as of this past Wednesday, there were nearly 1,800 people actively learning on the course. I think that means looking at the content, etc. And about 1,000 of you are posting, which is really great. So far there have been about 8,500 comments, and it seems to me that in particular on this run of the course, you're being really good at speaking to each other and replying and creating a sense of community, which is great for this week. That really matches what we've been talking about. Here are a few of the conversations that have stood out for me. I think on step 3.1, lots of people said that what they wanted to get out of this week was new technologies and new ways of teaching, technologies they could use in their classroom, etc. One conversation was started by Olga, and lots of us have added our favourite sites and apps in reply to her there. So that's turning into a really useful list of tools that you might want to try using. I'm certainly going to try a few new ones from there myself, so I'd encourage you to look at Olga's conversation and add your own favourite apps. Then there was a lot of conversation about the potential differences between learning face-to-face and learning online. And I think several of us feel that the ways we can learn online are so varied and changing so fast that we need to think about this a bit more carefully, specify this question a bit more carefully. But I do think that Scott's reply highlighted a key issue, well, certainly I find it for me studying online, and that is online gives more flexibility but demands more responsibility. I wonder whether that's one of the reasons why Amina wonders whether online learning is appropriate for children. What do you think? Do you think online learning is appropriate for children? Personally, I think it depends a lot on what age they are and how ready they are for it. And I've seen a lot of suggestions that maybe using MOOCs is a good way of preparing secondary students to get ready for the demands of university study or higher education study. Anyway, many of us on the course do seem to be very enthusiastic about the potential for learning online. But a few of us have identified drawbacks or problems. For example, problems with the connectivity and equity of access. I think those are highlighted in conversations started by Dennis and elsewhere, conversations talking about the need to be critical about what we see online, evaluate its truth, think about who is telling me this, who is making money out of this, what are their motivations, etc. So there's some good links on resources to help us think about that and help our students think about that if we're teaching. Another major issue highlighted in conversation started by Claire is whether there is less social interaction online or not. I guess personally I just think it's different. How do you feel about it? Do you feel there is social interaction online? Do you think there's social interaction on this course? So maybe you want to add your thoughts to Claire's conversation. Aitor questioned whether it is in fact possible to build relationships online, and also asked about how we cope with the lack of non-verbal language. I kind of wonder about whether the use of emoticons is one thing that helps us in that, so you might want to add your own thoughts there too. Another key issue for me is highlighted in a conversation started by Seiya. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name properly. But that was started, I think, because she popped into the Facebook clinic we had this week and thought it was chaotic and didn't think it was for her, really, I think. But I do think that highlights a big issue, which is there is something special about creating the buzz of everyone joining a course at the same time and trying to do stuff at the same time, and that's part of the essence of MOOCs in my mind. So have a look at her conversation if you want to add to that. I'll move on now to a conversation started by Alessandra, where she begins to think about the role of online teachers and what online teachers can do to help overcome the issues pointed to before about whether there is social interaction, whether there is community, how to motivate learners to participate, etc. So you might want to join that and reflect on what we've been doing on this course. What might we do better? How could we improve it as moderators? And that's in a way similar to the questions that Paola and Agata both ask about. So they're kind of reflecting on the experience of you as learners on this course, but also of the people who are moderating and monitoring, and they ask some quite interesting questions. So if you want to get a kind of glimpse into the behind the scenes of a MOOC, you might want to join those conversations and add your own questions. Anyway, I'll move now towards finishing. I'll just highlight two more conversations that I'm interested in. One illustrates the advantage of having such diverse participants on the course. So that is to do with video conferencing. I've never had the opportunity really to, well, I've very rarely taught over video links. So I was interested to find people like Junko on the course who do teach that way and are happy to share their experiences and answer our questions. So if you're interested in that, how to teach live over video audio connections, join that conversation. The other conversation I wanted to highlight was started by Igor, and that explores how quickly what it's possible to do and how the ways it's possible to learn online is changing, or digitally in more general terms. And I think that's true, and it's also true that the ways things are changing online perhaps are changing the nature of language itself, or what's acceptable in language. And I think that makes a particularly good link to the theme of next week, which is what is the future of English. So join in there and then move on to the course for next week. Anyway, to finish, I just wanted to say thanks to you all. I think you're doing a great job. You're creating a really good community, replying to each other, etc. And I'd encourage you to carry on that way and to meet and greet new participants who are still joining on step 1, etc. And of course, I will have missed lots of fascinating conversations. So please add your own favourites as comments on this step. Anyway, I look forward to seeing you all next week on the course. Bye.